So you might be thinking to yourself, wait a minute, did I miss an episode? Why are we at the start of a new season? We were at the beginning of franchise mode. Did I miss something? And the answer is no, you did not. And allow me to explain why. When I was doing my roster editing and my test runs before putting out the files, I noticed that the AI, still dealing with this cough, by the way, sorry for that the AI are the worst they have ever been, dare I say, in franchise mode at building a team, at knowing how to properly construct a team. And I'll try to put up screenshots here. If I don't, whatever, because you can honestly load in a franchise and see this for yourself, where the AI will have 2 or 3 goaltenders signed. We'll have 31 players under contract, completely ignoring any and all squad depth, where the AI will go ahead and sign players that they should never be signing, especially when there are better players available that they could actually fit under contract. And of course, letting go of a lot of their top free agents. You see that all the time as well. Again, case in point, the Vegas Golden Knights signing Dylan Sador for no reason whatsoever when other options are out there. You have someone like Chaz Sharp as well. The Capitals signed him as a 7th round. Like, sure, you can, but when they also let go of their top prospects, when they also sign players like this, no excuse. And of course, the scrolling is still fucking broken too because it's EA and Jesus Christ. But yeah, so essentially what happened was I decided to go through and essentially prevent the AI from being dumb. And we actually made sure that their rosters are pretty much full. So if teams needed forwards, I'd sign forwards and immediately flip them. We did this a lot. There is even more here than you can possibly imagine. It can in no way scroll all the way down. But essentially, I wanted to make sure that the AI rosters were not complete trash. And yeah, that's the state that we're at right now with this game, to have to ensure that the AI are not completely incompetent. So it was just a lot of day by day, honestly would have been boring to post going through the process. But what you do need to know is that a lot of the players that were dropped have gone back to the teams that they should be on. For example, the Buffalo Sabres just dropped Devin Levi, just decided not to sign him because, of course, they didn't. The Los Angeles Kings are another good example. Is he a center? Yes, Casper Simon Tyval. They didn't sign him for some reason. He was a 70 overall and a 20 at the beginning of free agency, and they just let him go at a high 9. It's insanity. The AI is absolutely dreadful, but yeah, I'm doing what I can to make them a little bit more competent. So in saying that, we are going to kind of go through the team rosters, our own included. Worth noting, there are still some RFAs available. I don't think we'll be going after any of them because we made some moves ourselves. So first and foremost, allow me to introduce to you the Season 2 Chicago Blackhawks. This is what our roster looks like, and there are certainly some changes. The top line, though, is Lucas Reichel with Jonathan Taves. We elected to bring him back, and Patrick Kane. The other team that was in for Patrick Kane was Edmonton. I denied him the chance to play with Connor McDavid, and I feel so good about it. Second line is Philip Kurashev. Philip Hedl, who we acquired as an RFA for a second-round pick from the New York Rangers, and my boy AJ Greer, who streams on Twitch, by the way. Look him up. Third line, we, of course, acquired Alex Iafallo at the draft. He is with Cole Guttman and Colin Blackwell. And Mackenzie Entwistle is with Jason Dickinson and an enforcer in the form of Giovanni Smith. Defensively, it is Caleb Jones. He is back as an RFA on a 1-year deal. We probably should have let go of him. He has pretty good value with his brother Seth. P.O. Joseph is with the new captain of the team, Connor Murphy. And why? Because Connor Murphy is a fucking beaut. Connor Murphy's the man. Man, you know, they had a great opportunity with tremendous people of character like Connor Murphy, Alex DeBrincat. Well, they got rid of Alex DeBrincat, but they do still have Connor Murphy. And we love Connor Murphy. We stand Connor Murphy around here. And then Philip Roos is with Nikita Zaitsev, who, yeah, God, at least that contract's up at the end of the year. Our goaltenders, as expected, Arvid Soderblom and Peter Mrazek, with scratches of Ian Mitchell and Joel Kiviranta, who, again, has a good history of being on teams on this channel. The AHL, we have some enforcers, but Michael Tepley is with Maverick Bourque, Ryan Reeves. We signed Raphael Harvey-Pinard. He is with Colton Dock and Matthew Olivier. And yeah, from there, I mean, you can kind of tell there's a decent amount of filler, but yeah, I think it's all enforcer right wing side. Defensively, Del Mastro with Zanetti, Nolan Allen with Regula, and Isaac Phillips with Alex Vlasic. So we actually have quite a bit of potential there. Defensively, Drew Comesso will be with Nikita Kwap, who we elected not to send back to the Canes because he's only a medium backup. We do have a couple of guys like Axel Jonsson Fjallby, Jakob Galvis, and then, of course, it signed some weird fucking dudes for us to autofill the roster. So that is our team. Like I said, I would have loved to have showed you the full step-by-step of, hey, here's Philip Hedl. But like I said, the process of making sure the AI teams aren't tragic was what it was. Have elected to forego signing Adam Fantilli for this season. I think next year will be his first, because I want to give Cole Gutman the chance to kind of step up and develop and see if he can actually be a bit of a force here for us. Our draft pick situation, 2 firsts, a second, couple of fifths, couple of sixths, and a couple of sevenths. So we do still have a second round pick thanks to the Vancouver Canucks. But yeah, for the most part, you know, we sacrificed that extra second for Philip Hedl, which I genuinely do think was a pretty good move. With that, let's somewhat quickly, kind of go through the other teams here and their starting lineups. I'm not going to point every single move out. Like, yes, David Krejci at 3.4 is interesting, but I'm likely to only kind of call out the really crazy moves in the high money. Again, we sent Dostal back to Anaheim, rightfully so, as he was a free agent. But this way, you know, people can see how certain players developed, whether or not Arizona is using someone like Logan Cooley in Season 1. They also signed Alex Killorn. Defensively as well, well, they're getting a little bit better, but it's still not great. It is pretty young. But yeah, the defense is still pretty rough. They were the ones that signed Jonathan Quick, but it's a 1-year deal worth $10 million. If there's anybody who can afford that, it would, of course, be the Coyotes. The Bruins are a disaster to the point where the AI is using Brad Marchand at center, even though he only has 60 faceoffs. So yeah, again, AI management is absolutely terrible. They signed Dmitry Orlov, though, 4 years, $7.1 million. I love Dmitry Orlov so far as a Bruin, but yeah. So again, AI management's directionless. They have no idea how to structure a team, how to value who they already have, and to have a vision of how to further build a team. Buffalo Sabres looking pretty good, especially after the Backlund trade, which they did acquire Backlund via trade, and then Boqvist as well. If I reference something that you didn't see, it's because I would have cut it out of that last video. I couldn't release that first cut of the episode. It was just a half an hour of like, all right, let me wait 20 minutes while I do a bunch of stuff, and then I'll show you what happened. And it was just, it wasn't very good. Carolina with Michael Bunting there. Max Domi goes back. Kotkaniemi on that fourth line. Defensively, they actually pretty much kept it together, which is shocking. Varlamov, Kochikov, a Russian tandem. And poor Jesse Puljujarvi. Poor Jesse Puljujarvi. Columbus. I mean, Kent Johnson stepping up. They acquired Chandler Stevenson via trade, so look out for the Blue Jackets. They won the Cup in Season 1, and they could easily be looking to strike back this season. They also brought back Jonas Korpisalo. And yeah, 5 years, 7, and just about a quarter for the Finns. So a big deal for Korpisalo to be back with the team. Calgary, still kind of waiting to see if they're just going to sell. They did actually acquire Josh Anderson via trade, though, which was an interesting one. But of course, we saw the Flames around the draft that they were looking to kind of blow this team up. So we'll see if they keep that same general direction. They have some healthy scratches that should probably at least be playing somewhere. Colorado, LOL. I mean, you know, their bottom 6 is looking a little bit interesting, but yeah, that top 6, that top defensive pair, it's hilarious. So overpowered. By the way, John Leonard, Jack Johnson, players they would not have had if I didn't send them to them. They had about 32 contracts. Yeah, pretty Pretty stupid. Ben, Sagan, and Johnston on the fourth line in Dallas. Case in point about not having direction in terms of how to build their team. Thomas Harley made the squad, though. Ottinger's looking pretty good. Mathieu Blumel is a healthy scratch, so was Suter. Detroit with Berggren, Larkin, and Raymond leading the way. Soderblom's their 2C, and Tyler Bertuzzi went back home. 2 years, just about $3 million. Defensively, Moritz Seider's amazing. Simon Edvinsson in on the team. Of course, he's on the wrong side, and they have all but one right-handed shot. I mean, it does happen sometimes in the NHL, but still, again, it'd be nice for the AI to be like, oh, we don't have a right D. Let's trade someone to get a right D. But, hey, what are you going to do? Andreas Athanasiou also went back to Detroit and is a healthy scratch at $3.8 million for 3 years. Again, the AI is fucking terrible. Edmonton, Draisaitl is actually now a higher overall than McDavid. That is shocking. But +2 for Leon Draisaitl based off of last season. Fair enough. Defensively, it's kind of similar to what they have. Jack Campbell had a big season. His overall skyrocketed. Skinner's went up there too. Broberg and Niemelin. Yeah, these guys can't get into the lineup apparently. Florida Panthers looking pretty good. Denisenko now in the top 6. Defensively, honestly looking pretty good. And they signed Vladislav Gavrikov. Pretty good pickup for them. Spencer Knight, Bobrovsky, their goalies, of course. Let's see what we have for LA. A lot of good player development to the point where Byfield, Dano, and Kopitar is the fourth line. I mean, you could play Kopitar at center by putting Kapari on the wing and moving Kempe or Kaliev over. Kaliev's the right wing, but again, the AI sucks. Oh, that's just it. Every time I try to get invested in the franchise, it's just I look at the AI in this game and it tests that desire. Minnesota, they are looking pretty good though. Not too bad, at least. Marco Rossi made the team. Carson Lambos made the team as well. Fleury and Gustafsson, John Merrill. Speaking of beauties. Montreal, Caulfield, Suzuki, Doc, Slavkovsky, Riley Kidney. Skyrockets in overall. He'll be with Connor Bedard. Jesus, Montreal. Jesus. Gustafsson, Justin Hall, Leafs legends on defense. This will be an interesting season for the Habs. They brought in Delkovich as a backup. Very interesting season for Montreal. New Jersey managed to keep Timo Meier. It's a 1-year deal at $13.4 million. So, LOL. And Jesper Bratt signed 1 year at 11.5. Yeah, that's an interesting team to watch. They have Barbashev for the third line, but hey, Curtis Lazar, third liner. Fucking stupid. Swap Barbashev. Why are you so dumb? Oh, Luke Hughes has made the team, though. Vanacek and Ranta, they're goaltenders. I can't believe how fucking dumb the AI are. Nashville signed Patrice Bergeron. They also signed Ryan O'Reilly, but let's play O'Reilly on the wing. Oh, but Toronto does it, or they did it with Tavares. It's fucking stupid. It's fucking stupid. I think we can admit that. Like Parsonen being a right wing when Sissons could play the right wing. It's fucking stupid. I hate it. God, don't I hate it. Saros and Lankinen. And then Thomas Novak, future Hall of Famer. Jesus Christ, what the hell has he done to just be like, yeah, hey, I'm a really good hockey player and I'm in the NHL now and doing very, very well. Defensively, good development for Noah Dobson last season for the Islanders. Sorokin, there's Stalock, that was his landing spot. The New York Islanders, the Rangers. I mean, that top 6 looking good. Bryce Scavello was the 14th overall pick. LOL. LOL. Defensively, I mean, Adam Fox is just insane, and Keandre Miller got that much better. Shesterkin, and yeah, case in point, the Rangers are rocking Dylan Garand as their backup. They have Jordan Stahl as a scratch and a shitload of money from Barclay Goodrow. Ottawa, Sokolov on the top line with Stützle and Batherson. They have Kachuk, Norris, and signed Tarasenko, Greg, Giroux, Joseph, Stastny, Pinto, Glendening. I mean, that is a hell of a team. I'll give them that. Defensively, Shabbat, Chikrin, Sanderson, Zub, and Brandstrom with Ian Cole. The Senators might be a team to watch out for. We also traded them Marcus Hogberg because they, couldn't figure out how to ice the rest of their team. Philadelphia. Some decent development, like Tippett's up to an 84. Defensively, Cam York looking good. Now, the best defender on this team, honestly, he's already the best defender on that team. Goaltending, Carter Hart, big step up to an 87 overall. They got Helm, Ronnie Attard, and then Rasmus Ristolainen is a scratch. Pittsburgh. Anything overly interesting? I mean, not really. It's a pretty Pittsburgh-looking team. Again, we kind of took P.O. Joseph away, but hey, what are you going to do? Tristan Jarry, Casey DeSmith. And don't worry, they have Tyler Johnson, but aren't playing him. Yeah. Do we want to play Josh Levo on a +1 chemistry or Tyler Johnson, who's 5 points better? I don't know. God, this fucking game. Shane Wright, top line in Seattle. Matty Beniers on that second line. He's up to an 86 overall. You got Vince Dunn looking damn good. He's up to a 90. That's insane. Cam Talbot, now the starter in Seattle. Oh, good. Yanni Gord's a healthy scratch. And they got Matt Dumba as a scratch, too. Yeah, I would play Sam Steele or Cole Lind over Yanni Gord. San Jose, Bordalo, Hurdle, Barabanov. They got Bryce Chung in the draft. Eklund's on the team. Defensively, I mean, it's still, in a way, Erik Karlsson and his band of merry men. Martin Jones, though, went back to San Jose. Interesting decision there. St. Louis. Anything overly interesting about you? I mean, Nikita Alexandrov is there. Defensively, they did sign Damon Severson. Whew. Honestly, I could see that deal, or at least maybe not the contract, but that move happening. IRL, based off of their kind of desperate need. Tampa Bay, Gage Gonsalves onto the top line. Okay. Why not? Nemesnikov went back as well. Hilarious. Hedman Sergachev defensively. I mean, that's a pretty realistic Tampa defense based off of cap. And they were another team. They had one goalie signed. I sent them Brandon Bussey so that they'd actually have a backup. Again, game is bad. The Maple Leafs, JVR, goes back to Toronto. I mean, if Luke Shen did, then why can't JVR? Defensively, Riley Ligren, Giordano, Brody, McCabe, and Mete. I wish we still had Jake McCabe. Samsonov goes up to an 86. Nick Abruzzese is a scratch. Vancouver. Anything overly interesting? I mean, they brought in Bonino. They have Kuzmenko below Danila Klimovich. Quinn Hughes is, of course, amazing. So they got that going for them. Demko bounces back to an 87. I think that was a +4 from where he was otherwise. The Vegas Golden Knights. I mean, who needs Chandler Stevenson when you can have first-line center Nick Roy? I always think it's Waugh. And yeah, why not play Mike Amadio over William Karlsson? Because our game is not programmed very well right now. James Reimer and Logan Thompson, the goaltenders. For Vegas, Winnipeg. I mean, Perfetti's at an 80. They kept Nino. Signed Sean Monahan. $4 million for 2 years. Defensively, still looking pretty familiar. I mean, Ville Heinola is there now. Hellebuck and, a 72 overall backup. GG's. Tierney Ledeen and Dylan Sandberg. And, of course, Washington, because they screwed up what order it's in. But Connor McMichael has made the team. Protas is there. Got Oshie on the fourth line still. Sandin, Carlson, Ferravari. And then in goal, Kemper, Lindgren, Bastian, Drouin, Obey, Kubel. So that is what the rest of the league looks like to kick off Season 2. Again, I had to put a lot of work in there so that the AHL wouldn't be a damn disaster. Auto-rotate goalies is off, which is good because, again, we want to get Soderblom as many starts as possible. But here we go. Season 2 is underway for us here in Chicago. The goal is pretty simple. It is to be bad, really. And, we'll have the ability to try to flip Taves and Kane if we have space to do so. And we finally get our first win of the season. P.O. Joseph is actually leading this team in points. And let's go ahead and switch goaltenders here. We'll go with Mrazek, and we'll get Nikita Quap. Hopefully a game at the AHL level, and indeed we will. We lose to Toronto as well. So in terms of the idea of, hey, let's be bad, we're doing great. Boys, you're crushing it. Lucas Reichel, separated shoulder at the NHL level, will auto-sub him out. And that will be, I actually forget who's going to be stepping in for him because of that injury. Let's sim one more game. Regula was apparently injured. We just shut out Calgary. It's Kivy. That's right, it's Kivy who gets in there on the top line. I'm good with that. Good with it. Swap the goaltenders again. Sim a day. Shot to Jamel Smith. Rockford's leading score at 7-1-1, even though the team, our leading scorer has 3 points, but they're 7-1-1. Figure that one out. Seriously, look at that. 4 points for Jamel Smith, but they're 7-1-1. They're goaltending from Comesso. Must be absolutely insane. Apparently, it's going to be a good year for rookies. I'll show you what the class looks like here in a second as we continue to lose hockey games. And indeed, while there are some generated guys, it's the Cole Iserman, Berkeley Catton, Consta Helenius is there, Sam Dickinson, Alex Zetterberg, Aaron Kiviharju. So again, the projected top of that class over a year out is very much well represented. So we will swap back here. I did not see how much longer we were supposed to be without Lucas Reichel. Well, there we go. How did Kivy Ranta do on the top line? 2 points in 7 games. Well, hey, I still love you. Let's get Reichel back in there. And then goaltending-wise, we will get our starters back in there as well. In the meantime, we are still pretty bad, which is very, very good news. I mean, it's kind of difficult to out-tank the Coyotes with that defense that they have, but we're managing to pull it off. We got a couple of shutout wins, too. 5 wins on the season. At least 2 of them are shutout wins. Figure that one out. Mrazek gets the start against San Jose. Loses it. Well done, Peter. I might have to keep you around for a little bit longer, to be honest. I might have to. You are perfectly terrible. Soderblom actually has a 924. Go figure. Is scoring, because it's on low, is scoring just that drastically down across the league? I didn't mean to go this way, but hey, we did. I mean, you could argue it could be a little bit higher. Burakovsky is a monster. Yeah, I mean, leading scoring should probably be a little bit higher. We'll keep it on low shots, but go medium scoring, or let's go medium shots. Let's go sim engine shot frequency, but we'll keep it on low scoring. Kind of see if that finds us the balance that we are looking for. Let's march on. Shout out to P.O. Joseph, though. Looking great. As we beat the Vegas Golden Knights in a shootout. Predators have dipped below us in the standings. That is not ideal, so send in the Mrazek. When in doubt, send in the Mrazek to hopefully secure us a goose egg in terms of points. Oh, Peter, you blew it. You blew it. You were the chosen one to lose the game. You blew it. Jesus, look at Rockford. They are crushing it right now, which is beautiful. So we get to December 1st. I imagine there are a few. I didn't mean to hit that button, but there probably are a few RFAs who will be sitting out completely. But yeah, we cannot score. Wow. We are very, very bad at scoring goals. In terms of standings, it's the Jets, Blues, and Avs atop the Central. The Atlantic is Toronto, Tampa, and Montreal. Metro, Islanders, Devils, Flyers. And then in the Pacific, of course, We have Vancouver, Seattle, and Anaheim. So Winnipeg right now, top team in the league. We are currently the worst. Shout out to Vegas, Carolina, Nashville. The Rangers are terrible. Cool. I guess. Let's keep it going. Let's keep it going. Of course, we're rooting for Tampa to be as bad as possible, too. But, yeah, I don't think we're going to get our wish on that. We got Montreal and Pittsburgh. In this first game against Montreal. 5-0 shutout loss. You'll love to see it. You absolutely love to see it. Soderblom still has a damn good save percentage. Good for him. I don't know how he's pulling that off on this team, unless, again, the league-wide scoring still isn't that high. We are going to check again. Actually, let's do that here in a minute and kind of see if scoring has gone up at all. Swap Comesso back in as AHL starter. So let's see what we have. Is league scoring still just way, way too low? All right, it's looking a little bit better. I mean, 11 points over for Draisaitl, but it's still pretty low. Honestly, medium. Might just be the sweet spot, and we'll say let's just deal with it. But yeah, scoring is still pretty low. Again, it's so difficult in any game. I mean, regardless of roster setup, to try and get the game to consistently replicate what we see IRL in terms of point production, it's essentially impossible to, again, hit those consistent results. But the good news is we should start seeing more point production for our team, while at the same time, we will hopefully continue to lose a lot of games. P.O. Joseph is an assist machine, and A.J. Greer goes down to injury. Yeah, look at Joseph. The second we put scoring back up to medium, he starts racking up some points, which is pretty nice. So Kivy is back in on that right-hand side. Let's get the backups in. Mr. Mrazek, if you would. Please, day after Christmas? Yeah, there we go. That's what all Hawks fans want. The day after Christmas is a nice, strong loss to try and get us as high of a draft pick as possible. It's not going to fetch us a Connor Bedard, but we're still looking all right. So it's January 1st now. We are closing in on the deadline. We are dead last through 34 games. Let's keep it going. We'll look at stats and everything at the end of the season. For now, let's just keep it going, and we continue to rack up the L's. This is beautiful. And again, at the deadline, and actually, really quickly, I haven't looked. I should. Yeah, no trades whatsoever. I was gonna say at the deadline, I think we'll be able to do a good bit of business. Hopefully, people like Kane, like Taves, hopefully they are pretty well sought after. So get Greer back in there. And hopefully we can do, a good amount of prospect and draft pick redemption is what I'm going to go with, just in terms of the amount that we're able to bring back. Let's see. Rockford's still looking great. We end up beating Dallas. Mrazek. You're killing me, buddy. You're killing me. Jesus, goaltending in general, it's on medium still. I mean, I guess it might take a little bit for it to really, fully kick in. We'll see for the offense. But, yeah, wow, Dallas must suck. How the hell did we beat them twice? Got the Islanders next. The New York Rangers, the Patrick Kane return game. Actually, I didn't see if we were home and away. Home or away. Let's see what we got. Central Scouting, of course. We end up shutting out the Rangers, because of course we do. Friggin' Peter just keeps. Oh, he just keeps winning them games. Winning us games. It's us after all. As we keep winning. We're still 8 points back of the Coyotes, but I am admittedly a little bit afraid of how many games we're winning. It's kind of scary. Again, Comesso up to a 76. Not bad. We'll keep an eye out on that. Next 2 games here for Mrazek to bring us into February. And our leading scorer has 29 points. Good job, Mr. P.O. Joseph. So Mrazek for Soderblom. Comesso back in. Maverick Bourque now the leading scorer in the AHL as we hit to I was going to call it the Totally Not All-Star break. It's really not that long of a break. Lose to the Sharks, hosting some further Western teams here. Pretty big homestand to kick off the post-All-Star. Okay, we got Tampa next. We have to lose that game, please. Tampa's doing all right. Actually, we got to win. And we did. There we go. Screw you, Tampa. Screw you. I'm so used to the idea of hey, we need the tank that it's no, we have to beat Tampa. We got to try to get them to miss the playoffs. We play them again. Big stretch of games. And okay, Tampa kicked the hell out of us that time. And that brings us to March 1st. We are just a few days out from the deadline that we are going to go through right here in this episode. Let's get kind of the lay of the land here, though. We are still last by 9 points, and the Preds have 2 games at hand. You got the Oilers, who are dominating the Pacific Division. Toronto ahead in the Atlantic, and the Metro is actually pretty close with Columbus, go figure, leading the way. Patrick Kane leading our team in points. Well, he is tied with P.O. Joseph. Jonathan Toews is there as well. But yeah, now 20 goals for Patrick Kane this season. Around the league, there we go. We're seeing some better point production. Matthews, though, has 51 and 58. Good Lord. Good to see Connor McDavid up there, though. That's always nice. Robertson, Barkov, Dougie Hamilton crushing it. And, of course, Zach Hyman in Edmonton playing alongside. Potentially even McDavid and Draisaitl. Defensively, yeah, Hamilton, Rasmus Sandin is loving life next to John Carlson. Goodness. Goalie-wise, the winningest is Samsonov. He leads the way with 7 shutouts and save percentage. Lankinen's not a starter, but Samsonov's doing very, very well. And for rookie skaters, Shane Wright leading Connor Bedard by 10 points for the Calder. Bedard, though, with 26 goals. But yeah, right now, Shane Wright is on pace to win the Calder, and we'll keep an eye out on that. For now, though, the deadline. And that will be, like I said, probably the final thing that we do, and then we'll see if we make the playoffs. Probably, we won't, obviously. So we'll be able to know that next episode will be a pretty big draft episode. Toews did drop in terms of rating from an 84 down to an 83, and I think Kane also dropped by 1. So regression is setting in. Gutman, you could mention kind of what you want, but no overall development is a bit scary. So as we get to the deadline, we're going to list ourselves as sellers and see what we can do with Alex DeBrincat in Ottawa. I believe, he is without a contract, so he is just an RFA, the holdout. Bowen Byram, same thing in Colorado, but the AI refuses to put together any potential deals that could actually benefit us. Evan Bouchard also sat out for Edmonton. So yeah, those RFAs didn't appear to go anywhere. We'll go over to the trade finder, though. Goaltending-wise, nothing that we really have to do. I can't imagine Mrazek would get a deal. San Jose trades Matt Benning, Eric Johnson in a 7th, as well as Andreas Janssen to Dallas for Logan Stankoven, Jamie Benn in a 2nd. So a huge deal to kick things off. Defensively, we look at the value there for Mr. Joseph. What would a deal look like for P.O. Joseph right now? 2 seconds, Christian Fischer. Merkley in a 2nd, Kuhlman's in a 2nd. Pretty much a lateral move. Yeah, 2 seconds for Joseph. Might as well keep him. Seattle acquires Tyson Barrie from Nashville. Caleb Jones. Any interest in you? 4th and a 7th. A 3rd round pick, but we'd have to take on 6 years of Philip Gustafson. A 5th rounder, Lars Eller, Matt Murray. Yeah, I think we'll hold on to Caleb Jones, even if we have to let him go at the end of the year. Is there anything for Nikita Zaitsev? Somehow there is. Akira Schmidt or Alex Chason. Honestly, Zaitsev's more valuable to us in that he takes up a boatload of cap space. So, yeah, most of who we were looking at in terms of dealing would be forwards, and we start off. What's the kind of interest in Patrick Kane? And it would be a 3rd round pick and Matt Murray for Patrick Kane. How much sense does that deal make? Do the Leafs need him? As the Habs have made a deal A second, 2 seconds to Calgary for Noah Hannafin. Good Lord. Hannafin is, of course, on an expiring contract this year, so that makes some sense. Yeah, you could kind of see why Toronto would want a Patrick Kane. He'd make that forward group that much better. Damn. Now, because they want him, again, I talked about Trade Finder. They do have Sandin Pellikka, who they just took, right? Also, Dallas trades Liam Bichsel in a third to Arizona for Boyd, a third and a fourth. So Dallas making a ton of moves. You're wanting to move Sandin Pellikka. You are. You'd be over the cap. Here's the thing. I am willing to retain on Patrick Kane, and I'm willing to take Matt Murray. I am willing to take on a boatload of salary so that you have all the space in the world to do what you have to do. Also, Joseph Wall, Hildeby would have to be your backups. I mean, Wall is backup level, is he not? Minor league starter, but he is crushing it down there. Yeah, I mean, I could take on Matt Murray. And shit, I mean, Peter Mrazek's done pretty well this year. You could reacquire Peter Mrazek, and I can retain on him too. I very well could. Could be our 2 retentions, Kane and Mrazek, for Sandin Pellikka and Matt Murray. Taking back a lot of salary. You, well, actually, you wouldn't be getting that much of an upgrade on goaltender. But, well, actually, I mean, you would. You'd be saving money on goaltending. Instead of paying 4.7, you'd be paying 1.9. And then you'd also have Patrick Kane on the team. You'd have Patrick Kane and Peter Mrazek for $200,000 more than what you're paying Matt Murray alone. And honestly, do you have anybody else on the block? Anybody else on the block who's getting paid probably a little bit too much? And that might be in the AHL. Like Pontus Holmberg. Why are you paying him that much money for him to be in the AHL? Or Connor Timmins, or Wayne Simmons. We'll take on Wayne Simmons. No, we won't. I'll have too many skaters. Patrick Kane, Peter Mrazek for Matt Murray, but I want Axel Sandin Pellikka. What do you think? They said no. Okay, they said no. I tried. We'll see if there's anything else out there before we go back to a potential Patrick Kane deal. Nazar's looking a little bit better. Could we flip Alex Iafallo just to see what's out there? A third and a fourth. The right. Ooh, okay. Mason Lohrei is not bad. Mayfield, some picks. Second rounder, Gustafson, Hamonic, Kevin LeBanc. And for the most part, just trying to drop cap on us. But the Bruins are willing to give up Mason Lohrei, who I am definitely interested in. Arizona's trade, by the way, Freddie Goodrow in the third to Vancouver for Oliver Ekman Larson is a fucking coyote again. I mean, Lohrei's fringe as to whether or not he's going to find a breakthrough. Do the Bruins need somebody like Alex on the team? We look at the wingers. Kind of. I mean, Iafallo, he's left wing only, is he not? If I'm not mistaken. He is left wing only. Who could we take? I mean, yeah, Frederick and Zaka can play on the other side. No real reason why they couldn't do this deal. I'm fine with it if they are. I mean, again, we brought in Iafallo just to be like, hey, he can be a good temporary, PK kind of guy, but you get a chance to bring it. Oh, then again, another defenseman. Do we really have room for Mason Lohrei? I don't think we do. I don't think we do at all. St. Louis, Braden Shen, a third and a fourth to Calgary for Mackenzie Weegar in a seventh. Okay, so the league's just going insane again. Khrushchev, Iafallo. I mean, outside of Taves and Kane, who do we really have? Unless we were to try to flip Philip Hedl? What can we get for Hedl, knowing that we spent a second rounder to get him? John Beecher in a second rounder, stonks. Lohrei in a second. Barlow in a third. Toffoli, Tanev, Tavo. Bring Tavo back to Chicago. Brent Burns, Brett Pesce. Svozil in a second. 2 seconds and Philip Gustafson. Again, stonks. A second in Hamonic. Barabanov, a second, a third, and Matt Murray. A goalie named Sillinger, who's a medium elite, but you have to take on Matt Murray. I mean, we are missing a medium elite goalie. Second and a fourth. second and a third. What's the Sillinger trade? I mean, I like Philip Hedl, don't get me wrong, but for the right deal. 19, only a 51 at 19. Kings send Nikita Zadorov to Edmonton, a deal that involved Cody Ceci. I mean, Hedl is 24. I mean, he's pretty well-rounded, but I don't know. Do we want to move on from him? At least we know we could kind of get our money back. Jonathan Taves, who's interested in you? A third and a fifth from Boston, Columbus, Minnesota, the Islanders. And of course, Toronto desperate to get rid of Matt Murray. I mean, it's Boston, Columbus, or Minnesota for one Jonathan Taves. And, well, in thinking about it, I was kind of hoping Winnipeg would be there. I mean, that's where he's from. Minnesota. What do we have at center? Yeah, you don't have space for him at all. Minnesota's out. Columbus. You don't have space for him at all either. Boston definitely has space. Definitely for Jonathan Taves. I mean, not that I want Jonathan Taves to ever wear that uniform, but we can look to bring him back once this season is done. We're going to take it. Jonathan Taves to Boston for a third and fifth round pick. I am also going, well, actually, you know what? Let's try to make this a bigger deal because they have shown interest, or at least they did show interest in Hedl. And we know that the Bruins, have moves they could make. I am willing to retain 50%. Instead of a third and a fifth, they want to get rid of the likes of Barlow, Beecher, Lorre, Lascelles. I mean, do the Bruins also need help on the wing? Yes, they do. Okay. Can we pull off a blockbuster with Boston here? That way, I can retain a boatload of salary. That way, we don't have to worry about contracts, right? By retaining salary, we're looking okay. But 50% on Taves and Kane. And do they have anybody else on a huge deal where it would make sense to kind of take them back? The answer, Mike Riley would be perfect, given that the Bruins obviously were kind of in a rough spot with him. But Riley would be perfect to add to this deal. And, I mean, you're giving up Lorre, who I don't really need, but Beecher, Barlow, Lascelles. I don't know why they're insisting on giving up Fabian Lascelles, but, I mean, even if it were to be the trio, and then I could throw in a defensive prospect because we have way too many of them. We do. I don't know which one I'd want to give up. I mean, Galvis could kind of fit the bill. I mean, I guess we don't necessarily have to move somebody out. I would have to throw somebody back in the deal, though. Defensively, could be Ian Mitchell. Nashville trade Ryan O'Reilly to Edmonton for Ekholm. So Ekholm's back in Nashville. So Jonathan Taves, Patrick Kane, each on 50% retained, and Ian Mitchell for Mike Riley. Fabian Lascelles, Barlow, Beecher is obviously not going to work in terms of value. What if we took out Beecher? Also does not work. Lascelles is probably the guy, obviously, to take out, given his value. But what if it was just him alone? Still no. Okay. Yeah, I don't really want to give up anything to make this happen. So, I mean, even Beecher and Barlow, along with Riley, for Taves, Kane, and Mitchell. Interest? Not quite. What about just Barlow? Okay, they would do that. So Taves, Kane, and Mitchell for Riley, Barlow, and, well, do you have interest in giving up a third rounder as well? Okay, so yeah, we're pretty close to fair value. What about a fourth to nickel and dime it? That also doesn't go through. Vancouver. A third to Vegas for William Carrier. Yeah, again, the league is practically unrecognizable. We'll try one more fifth rounder. Okay. Taves, Kane, Mitchell to Boston from Mike Riley and Cody Colby and Colby Barlow. 19 years old, looking decent. Barlow's the guy. Done deal. Taves and Kane are Bruins. Again, a sentence I would never want to hear IRL, but in this little reality, I'm good with. The Bruins are also willing to give up Trey Augustine for Blackwell. What the hell? Fifth rounders aplenty. Take on Trevor Van Riemsdyk, Matt Murray. It's like, hey, don't forget about us. Can I package together Blackwell and Dickinson? I cannot. So Colin Blackwell, just because we can. Let's get a 5th round pick, let's just say from Tampa, because we already have their picks, and that's fine. Jason Dickinson, Ristolainen was just acquired by San Jose. Okay, wow, literally we could get Philip Gustafsson for nothing. He can't possibly have that bad a value. He can't. Right? 82 overall goalie. I know that's a lot of money. But I mean, like Dickinson's just a role player. I mean, it is a decent amount of money for a start. I think we'll pass. It was tempting. But I think we will pass. Dickinson would still like to flip you somewhere. Let's go Florida's for a 7th because Toronto's being weird. So we'll move on from Dickinson. Even Gutman, while you have a little bit of value, what could I get for you? Jonathan Quick, Christian Fisher, 3rd and the 4th from Boston. Lore is there. 3rd and the 4th seems to be 2nd round pick from Minnesota, but we got to take on Gustafsson. 3rd and the 4th seems to be the going rate. I mean, he's a depth guy for Ottawa. We'll do it. Gutman doesn't look like you're going to make it. We'll move on from you because now Maverick Bork can get some time. And then, Fantilli's going to be ready next year. So, honestly, Hedel, Bork, Fantilli, still have Colton Dock in the mix. We're going to be looking pretty good down the middle. And then, obviously, still have Reichel, Kurashev, Iafallo in reverse order as our top left wings. I mean, a 4th in camp. Of course, that 2nd round pick offer was still there. I mean, it's basically like a 3rd and a 4th for Iafallo. We might as well keep him for that. And then, I mean, we have certainly weakened the team a little bit, but I feel like we did pretty good in terms of what we acquired. And it's just before the deadline, so let's go ahead and end it. And we will take a look around the league at the absurdity of the final moves. Again, Marchessault off to Minnesota. Kevin LeBanc for Dahlin, or not Dahlin, Rasmus Ristolainen. Imagine Dahlin. Of course, Taves, Kane, and Mitchell for Riley and Barlow. Carrier on the move. Eckel back to Nashville is amazing. Barabanov on the move. Pesci is now a member of the Devils. Evander Kane in Vegas. God help the casinos. Let's see. Mackenzie Weegar's in St. Louis for Braden Shen. Again, OEL back to Arizona. Lindholm off to Colorado. Hannafin to Montreal. Barry to Seattle. There were some weird trades. That is for sure. But with that, let's get a look before we end this at what our roster will look like for the rest of the season. Because Mike Riley is here. Now, technically, I won't be able to play everyone within their role, but I mean, it's Nikita Zaitsev. We don't have to worry about it too much. Marian Studenic could be ready to go. So let's see. We got Kivy and Greer. We could get some face punching potential. We have a lot of people on that left-hand side. A lot of people. Let's see. If I were to send down you 3... So those 3 on the left, Smith on the right, so Entwistle's still there. I need one more right wing. And let's give it to Ryan Reeves. Players must clear waivers. I'd be under the cap. Mason Shaw, I was already paying $5 million to. Do I have to leave Mason Shaw on the team? Is that the deal? Still can't do it. Well, we Yeah, we are in trouble cap-wise. We should have taken on Matt Murray because our roster now is pretty much locked in. There's nothing I'm going to be able to do in terms of call-ups and send-downs because we don't have the cap space. So let's pretty much sort it out. I mean, as best we can. I do like Mike Riley, but I'm sorry, buddy. You're going to go right back towards being a healthy scratch. And then for the forwards, I mean, hopefully nobody gets injured. But we are going to be looking at a pretty weird team. Entwistle and Shaw are going to have to play center. So Harvey Pinard is going to be on the first line with Reichel and Hedel. We should be absolutely terrible. For the back stretch of the season, we'll go best lines down in the AHL. I'll double check lines and stuff like that. But yeah, needless to say, things have gone just a little bit crazy.